Today we've gone beyond 420. So, excuse me while I light this up. Now you might be wondering why I'm wearing a pith helmet. There is an explanation. I'm going to take you back into the jungle. And I guess wearing a pith helmet, I guess that's where you, I don't know, for lack of better words, take a pith when you're in the jungle? I don't know. Feeble attempt at humor in a somewhat humorless world today, my friends. And we all know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to dwell on that because it's depressing and fucking soul corroding. But anyway, back in 1972, Joseph Brenner Associates imported a film called Man from Deep River. And they, of course, the film was originally Deep River Savages, directed by Umberto Lenzi. Sort of his weird homage to A Man Called Horse for a couple reasons. But anyway, thing is, I saw this film in 72, sort of trashed out of my mind in a Grindhouse in 42nd Street, on 42nd Street rather. I don't remember too much because, like I said, back then, you know, we were experimenting with liquor and marijuana and all kinds of other cool shit, so I was pretty blasted when I saw it. But down the road, it got re-released as Sacrifice and was on a double bill with Autopsy, another Joseph Brenner retitled thing. See, Joe Brenner started this shit back in the 50s. I believe he brought in that last Errol Flynn movie, Cuban Rebel Girls, and basically he said at one point if his trailers were as good as his movies, everything would be wonderful. But, you know, that's what he used to do. He used to bring in all this stuff and retitle it. So he retitled, Man from Deep River as Sacrifice to get more steam out of it. Now, the funny thing is, and I told about, going into the Castle Theater and everything with my buddy Big Al and him not, understanding what was going on. And then we got to this fucking really grim shit going on. But anyway, there is actually two different cuts of the movie. Media Blasters released Man from Deep River, and Raro Video released it as Sacrifice. Now, the Man from Deep River cut on Media Blasters is more like the Grindhouse cut. It dispenses with a lot of stuff. There's the plot is this guy basically is a photographer in Burma, I think it was. And he gets into some altercation with a guy at a bar and reverses the knife the guy has and stabs him, and then hires a guy to take him upriver. And he gets in a frogman suit and goes underwater to take pictures and comes up and finds the guide with an arrow in his throat, and he's netted by a tribe of savages who take him back to the village thinking he's a fish. So they keep him in the water and they use him to catch fish and turtles and things like that. He looks at the chief's daughter, played by Mimi Lai, an Asian actress, and is sort of actively pursuing her. But then, of course, witnesses all kinds of cruelty and barbarity, like a hand stretched out over an anthill eaten down to the bone, hands chopped off, tongues cut off, crap like that. Of course, the prerequisite animal cruelty that they always say was added after the fact, which is bullshit. So we got enough of that there too. But anyway, he sort of escapes and then gets into a fight with one of the tribesmen who's chasing him and kills him. Well, that sort of puts him in a position to be accepted into the tribe as a warrior. And then they cremate the guy he killed, his remains, cremate the body. And for some reason, his widow lays on the pile of his ashes, and a bunch of basically tribesmen pull a train on her. It's really messed up, but they said it's an African custom somewhere or whatever, which, okay, fine. But anyway, they go through this whole deal, him pursuing her and, working his way into the tribe and shit like that. And then you get to the climactic thing where this young couple are out and they're attacked by cannibals, and the kid's mortally wounded, and the girl is raped and dismembered and eaten, and they come back and they catch the cannibals and cut their tongues out. Then there's a raid by a rival village, and there was another subplot with this mean witch doctor that poisoned the Mimi Lay character because she was pregnant. And there's a battle breaks out, the witch doctor gets killed, and the photographer stays with his son to help the village because that was her dying wish. Okay, that's the exploitative thing. The sacrifice one is more of her pursuing him, heavily, and more like more interaction with her and the chief, her father, saying that basically she wants him, and she basically, fucking abuses the shit out of him and stuff. I mean, and I said the key thing is, I didn't touch on before, is how they initiate him into the tribe. They put him into this contraption where he's basically held immobile, his head's held immobile, and as he spins around, they shoot darts into him. That's where the whole man from horse segue came in, or whatever Umberto was thinking there. So, yeah, she's more of the aggressor in this version, which is also has some subtitles because some of it isn't in English. So it's a completely different cut. And then you go to the point where the cannibal attack happens, and it seems that they couldn't find an actress that wanted to play the victim of the cannibals because, I guess laying in a pile of, fake or animal entrails and having, your fake boob sliced off and eaten by a cannibal really didn't go over too well. So what they did was they hired a prostitute, a local prostitute. And Lenzi actually created something a little unique to simulate the severed arms and legs. He dug holes and basically had part of her arm into the hole, and then gore splattered around the stump, and the same, like dig a hole and she puts her leg in and goes back and puts all the stuff around her knee and stuff, and yeah, it was grim. And then they cut the cannibals' tongues out and killed them and shit. So it ends the same way, but it's just interesting because it's a totally different cut. And I just picked this up, I don't know, about a month or so ago. I don't know if I really I probably did go into depth about cannibal films, but I've done so much of this shit. But I was doing something for Mike Haas. He's going to do an Italian cult classics book, and he asked me what I could contribute. And of course I thought, well, why not go back to the cannibals, because certainly saw them all. And, I'm not going to go into depth with all this stuff, but the other one I did have to rewatch for this was Slave of the Cannibal God from 1978. Interestingly enough, I went to see it with a couple guys that were into this kung fu stuff back then, and it was playing at the Times Square on 42nd Street, and it was The Street Fighter, Slave of the Cannibal God, and Return of the Street Fighter. Now, Slave of the Cannibal God, what did I do with that? Is it over here? This was released also as Mountain of the Cannibal God, and I believe there was another alternative title, Prisoner of the Cannibal God. So this one actually has named stars, Ursula Andress and Stacy Keach. And it's this thing where basically her and her brother show up, and they're looking for her husband who vanished to the Isle of Roku, which is now a streaming service, and actually Isle of Roka. And Stacy Keach had been on the island before because he was shipwrecked there, and he gives this whole dissertation about being attacked by the tribe and captured by the tribe. They're going to kill him, but then he saved the chief's son, and they let him into the tribe, and then he breaks down and goes, human flesh, who can forget the taste of it? Well, being that I used to walk around in the 70s with all my t-shirts said, support cannibalism, eat me, right on, brother. But anyway, it gets weirder because he escaped with this boy who wound up to be the chief's son, and reverts back during this whole escapade through the jungle, because they do this trek through the jungle, and they keep losing bearers. One gets eaten by a crocodile, one gets caught in a swing trap and spiked, one gets decapitated by one of the cannibals. Let's run down the extras before we get to the main course. So anyway, there's an ulterior motive because there's money involved in this whole thing. And the brother and the sister, of course, they run into this guy who's a doctor on the island who's pretty good with, nature and things like that. And he brings him to a mission, and that's where the whole mess up with the kid goes on. But anyway, there's a bunch of really weird stuff here. And the thing is, with the Blue Underground one, it has a couple scenes in there that obviously never made mainstream cinema, because it involves some really twisted, perverse sexual activities, which I guess I can't say on YouTube, but that's the one to look for. I know that another company put one out on Blu-ray, and I did buy that one, and I'm not going to go over that because it was an embarrassment. It's not the same print. I don't know what these guys think is cool, doing a 2K scan of a beat-up Grindhouse print or whatever, Okay, if you're going to, restore something, restore it because of the money you charge, but fuck it. But anyway, they get to the Isle of Roku, and, like I said, things go on, and then Stacy Keach gets wounded, and the wound gets infected, and then the brother cleverly lets him slide into the rapids they're trying to go through, so that's the end of Stacy. So it winds up that the whole deal is that island is loaded with fucking uranium, and that's why the husband was over there, and they find the remains of his party, and they're taken by cannibals. Of course, the brother gets the spear and the gut treatment, and they bring him back and basically lay him on a pile of hot coals because he's dinner. And this one has a nasty midget cannibal. I mean, really nasty midget cannibal. So, for some reason, they find that the husband's putrefied body is like in the stand with a Geiger counter stuck where the heart is. And he had a picture of his wife, and the chief pulls out of his thing, and okay, she's the queen. They strip her and grease her up for some strange-ass reason. And things go sour from there because somehow she kills the chief, and then they're going to sentence her to death, and then the little cannibal starts messing with the doctor rather, was a prisoner, and then he gets kicked and flies back, and his skull breaks open, and you see the brains leaking out, so this ain't pulling away from any of this shit. And eventually they escape and get away. It's like I said, this is a bigger budget, and it's done by Sergio Martino. And of course we have the requisite animal cruelty, which they claim they didn't do, but they basically staked out a monkey and let a fucking reticulated python eat it on camera. And a couple other things that are pretty messed up, so yeah. So yeah, those are, I don't know if I've done these before or not, but there's always a second look at things, because when you do view things a few times, you do see certain things that you probably didn't see before. So, and I know that's true with Cannibal Holocaust, because every time I watch that one, you look off to this or that, the other thing, and you see something you obviously didn't see before. So it's all weird and good. So, all right, that's what we got for today. So, let's just hope we get some peace in the fucking world, boys and girls, because I'm fucking sick of this shit, and it's shaking me to the core, and I got booted off of Facebook for saying something bad about Putin, but hey, fuck it. It's free speech, and we got to keep speech free. So on that happy note, stay safe. We'll catch you on the flip side.